Okay, so you want to create a digital course in 2021, but you're not quite sure how to turn your knowledge and experience into a course that people actually want to buy. So in today's video, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to give you the most uncomplicated way to get started so you can turn your knowledge into a digital course that your customers can't wait to buy. Hi, my name is Charisse, and I am the Charisse of Charisse & Co. And I help digital course creators, thought leaders, consultants, service providers turn their knowledge and experience into digital courses. And beyond just creating digital courses, I also help with marketing automation, aka sales funnels. And so my approach and my perspective on digital courses is a bit different than, say, those who only specialize in digital course creation. At the time I'm recording this video, I actually don't have a course of my own because I have spent the last 5 or so years helping other course creators and other brilliant people create their own courses. And so here's what I've learned from being behind the scenes of both the course creation process, but also the marketing process of how to take what you already know, love, and do and turn that into a digital course. Okay, so first things first, let's start with step 0. That's to commit to seeing this through and owning that you are an expert. I've seen this happen where people are really excited and have brilliant ideas for creating digital courses, and then they freeze up or other things start to get in the way of them completing it, right? So creating a digital course isn't really it's a project, right? It's not a short thing that you'll complete in a weekend. You absolutely could, but for most of us who are wearing multiple hats, either as business owners or as parents or as spouses, we don't have 12 hours, 8 hours a day necessarily to dedicate to creating a digital course, right? So for us, it may take a bit longer. And that's totally okay. But as long as you commit and make it a priority to get the work done, you will get there. You certainly will get across that finish line. And then the next piece of that, sort of in our still step 0, is owning your expertise. Because I've also have heard this plenty of times of, does anyone want to learn from me? Am I really an expert? Now, my guess is if you're listening to this, you already know that you know something that other people don't, right? That you know something that can help someone who is just beginning or just starting out, and that you can bring that to life and teach other people how to do that, right? So I trust that if you're already watching this, you've already done that step. You've already said, I'm an expert. But let me just tell you that imposter syndrome does pop up throughout the journey. And so if that is something that you struggle with, like having confidence is something that you sometimes struggle with, I highly recommend making sure that you just remind yourself that you are an expert and that you have that edge, right? That as long as you are a few steps ahead of who you're teaching, you are the expert. And it's okay to know that you don't know everything. And in fact, I encourage you to admit that you don't know everything, right? Because being an expert really is just having knowledge and experience. That's the two things, right? Yes, you can have credentials and you can have licenses and all these other things or certificates rather, that make you an expert, that back up that knowledge and experience, but at its core level, at its basic level, knowledge and experience is what makes you an expert. All right, so now that we've sort of gotten through the motivational pep talk to keep you on the road to getting started, I want to talk about step number 1. And I'm not gonna lie, I've got some notes here because I want to make sure I don't forget anything. So the first step, pick your topic, Think about the transformation you can provide people through your course. Here's the thing, people don't really buy information. Information can be Googled, right? People can Google how to just about anything these days. So you want to think about your course as being a way to transform or deliver some sort of result or help someone do something that they couldn't do before. And ideally, and yes, everything can be Googled these days, and of course they could go out and probably piece together a whole bunch of free information and get started. But here's what you're doing. You're giving them a shortcut. You're helping them not have to do that. You're giving them the opportunity to get expert guidance, to get started, or to do whatever it is that you are promising them to do. And that is valuable. There is value in that. And that does not at all discount your course just because you feel like, well, everything could be Googled. Everything's just a Google search away. No. All right, so thinking about your topic, your transformation that you provide, and just do a little bit of research, right? So one thing that I really highly recommend as a first step is going on to Amazon and looking for books around your topic. I know that sounds a little counterintuitive, but here's the thing. If you can find books on your topic, that means there's market demand for your topic, right? So that's sort of checks box number one of making sure that there are people who actually want what it is that you have to offer. The next piece is doing this actually may help you find some inspiration, right? It may help you to find some ideas or areas that you can dig deeper into for your course, right? So if you were let's say you were a career coach and you found some courses on how to write a resume, or some books on like resume writing or interviewing, right? Or like how to cultivate your dream career, rather. Let's say you found a book on that, like how to cultivate your dream career. And when you're looking in the chapters, that could be where you find some inspiration for either your modules or perhaps some areas where you can really more specifically help someone. So it could be that you have a course on how to interview, how to write a resume, right? Because there are all sorts of courses you can create. You don't have to create a comprehensive course where you're going to give someone everything out of your brain and be like, here's how you do, here's how you do it all, right? You can create mini courses on, or spotlight or starter courses, whatever you want to call them, on specific areas of your expertise, right? So if you are a career coach, you could certainly have a course just on the interviewing process, or just on the resume process, or just on the social media side of like how to use LinkedIn. Like that could be a very specific course that you create. So do a little research, look for what's already out there, what already exists, because that's going to help you validate that what your topic and what you're thinking about offering, that there is a demand and that people want it. Now, sometimes people get stuck at this point. So my advice here is, give yourself sort of a time limit as to how long you will allow yourself to research. And trust me, this is awesome, again, to go back to that ground zero step of where imposter syndrome starts to come into place. This is where you have to remind yourself and shut it down and say, I am an expert. I bring my own perspective, my own knowledge, and my own experience, and I am an expert in this. Okay, so the next thing I want to get into, and this is because I do things a little bit differently. Instead of, most people would tell you, okay, now you want to go and outline your course, right? And that seems to, that seems like the next logical step. And you absolutely could do that. But I want to challenge you to actually do the hard thing first. And that is market. I want you to think about marketing this course idea that you have before you actually start to go in and make a very detailed outline. And here's why. I have seen over and over again people creating brilliant courses, have brilliant ideas. They go ahead, maybe they even get some beta testers, and then they realize they have no idea how they're going to market this course, or they struggle with marketing the course. And that's because they created the course without thinking about, do people actually want this course? How am I going to market it? How do I position this as something that people actually want? And now there could be other variables that could lead into this, but the most prominent one by far is a lack of, I don't want to say a lack of marketing, but it's just not thinking strategic from the beginning. And so when you think strategic from the beginning, it allows you to make a better product, and it allows you to make a course that's going to be a lot easier to market because you've thought about it from the very beginning. So this is I want you to put your marketing hat on, and I want you to think like a marketer from the absolute start. So what I'd like you to do is to take that topic and that idea and actually try writing your sales page. This is like rough draft, doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to have all of the pieces, but the idea of writing your sales page is that you're going to be thinking about the obstacles and challenges that your student is facing, the objections that's going to come to mind when they see this course, that they're going to be like, well, I don't, how do I know this is going to work for me, right? Because when you think about those objections that your ideal student may have, that allows you to address those objections in the content of your course, right? So if we continue with the career coach example, and we're going to do a course on how to interview to land the dream job. One of those objections could be that, like I don't know how to dress. I don't have really good fashion. So maybe a bonus or a module or a lesson in the course is, I'm going to tell you how to pick out the right outfit for your interview so that you get the job you want or dream of, and what have you, right? So there's an example. For example, if I were creating a course, let's say I was creating a course on email marketing, and I knew that, or in digital courses, and I knew that one of the objections was that, how do I know this is going to work for me? That's a number one objection everyone has. When they're thinking about buying something, they want to know, will this work for me, right? So you want to make sure that you're answering that in your copy, but you also want to make sure that when you're thinking about your course, that you are results focused and results driven, and that you're going to do whatever you can in your power to make sure that they can get that result. So if I was creating a course on courses and someone said, oh, but I'm not techie, how do I know this is going to work for me? Well, then I want to say, I have a bonus module, or there's a module dedicated solely to the tech setup, right? You want to make sure that you alleviate that. Or, there's going to be a live Q&A at a certain point where you can ask me all of your tech questions, right? Like, those are ways that you start to build in to your course things that bust through those objections so that people are like, take my money now, take it, just take my money, take my credit card, right? And that is sort of the factor that we want to have, because let's be honest, no one wants to have a course or launch a course and no one signs up, right? Like, that's no fun. No one wants to have to go back to the drawing board and try to figure out what happened after they spent so much time into creating their course content. So when you do it this way, when you sort of reverse engineer it and do the marketing piece first, it really helps you to develop a better product and a better course, because when we're doing our marketing first, we're actually thinking about the student who's taking the course. So that sort of brings us into the piece number 2 is, creating your content. Now, I suggest creating 20% of your content before you launch. Now, this is if you're comfortable with pre-selling. Not everyone is comfortable with pre-selling, so I don't push that on anyone, but pre-selling is a great way to sort of guarantee that your course is going to be a success before you invest more time or more money into getting it set up. So what I suggest, so that you're ethically doing this and you're not so that you're not, selling something that doesn't actually exist. First off, if you pre-sell your course, you have to follow through on delivering the course. Second, I think that doing 20% or creating 20% of the content, not only does it give you the opportunity to create the pieces that when someone signs up for the course, that they have something, right? I think it's great if you could have like module 1 ready to go, so that when they sign up, they do get something. There is that instant gratification, and they're not just waiting for the course launch date. The next piece to sort of creating that 20%, that part of that 20% is having that super detailed outline with dates, so that you know when you're going to get the rest of this content done. So even if you're not delivering it live and it's going to be recorded content, I highly recommend having your dates, having it planned out, that you know when you're going to get this content recorded, uploaded, and available for your students. And so, this method, and honestly, when it comes to the content's really the simple part. I think this is where people get in their heads a lot, and perfectionism can pop up, and it can be really easy to feel like, oh, the content is the most complicated part, and I've got to create all this content. No, you've actually did the heavy lifting by doing the marketing first. So you already know what's going in the course. You already know what the end result is going to be. So now it's just a matter of making this outline even more detailed and ready to go, so that you can make your content that much faster, right? And so when I say a detailed outline, I mean you've got bullet points for everything, for scripts, for slide decks. You've got everything on deck and ready, so that all you have to do is sit down and record your lessons and get it done. Okay, and so the last piece is tech. So everyone comes to me with like, what's the best platform, right? Or they say something to me. I've been getting a lot of this lately, like, this platform's too expensive. I need to find another platform, right? So I've been getting a lot of tech questions, and that's normal because that's sort of what I do, right? But I want to really stress that the technology doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be expensive. And it's not going to make or break your digital course. So do not stress about this piece. Do not overthink it. The technology, even if you're not tech savvy and you're like, I can't do this, I don't know how I'm going to do this, you can always hire help. So in my opinion, the tech piece of creating a digital course is really not all that hard, and really not your primary goal, right? Your primary goal, again, we're going to start with the marketing, then we're going to start thinking about creating that content, and then we can start getting into more of the tech stuff, right? And of course, the tech is sort of woven in from each piece, right? Because you need some tech to market the course and pre-sell the course, and then you're going to need some tech to start creating some of that content, right? But when I'm thinking about tech, as in the last piece, I'm thinking about like uploading your content to like Kajabi, Thinkific, Teachable, like that piece. Don't stress about that. Don't stress about it. Don't get caught up in having to feel like you have to make that decision first. That's one of the decisions you can make later. So I hope that this helped. I hope that you feel inspired to go ahead and create a digital course and turn your knowledge into a profitable income stream for yourself. I think that if you enjoy teaching and you're looking to really own your expertise and really start to establish yourself as a thought leader in this way, a digital course is a great way to get started, and I promise it doesn't have to be overly complicated. You certainly can get it done, and of course, if you need help, I'm always here. You can hit the subscribe button to get more videos like this. I love to talk about digital course creation and marketing automation and just modern entrepreneurship in general. And if you hit the notification button, you'll get notified every time a new video happens. And in the comments, tell me what courses you all are going to create. I'd love to hear what you got in the works, and stay tuned until next time.